had a small pause in our webinar sequences for a couple of months over the summer. Other type of activities that took away a little bit from the focus of the webinars. We had a first post-pandemic residential coaching experience for our students at Noble Manhattan Coaching. In fact, we had 3 face-to-face international residential coaching experiences. In March, it was in Dubai. And then in July, we did it in Sofia, close to 60 people from around Europe. And then later on, in October, which is actually just a couple of weeks ago, we had one for Moldova, which was run entirely in Romanian. The one in Bulgaria and the one in Dubai were held in English, obviously. We relaunched the monthly Sofia coaching support group meetings. The last one was just now, and it was really fun. We did arts and crafts. The team in Sofia had organized a very nice location, like a boutique house. They call it the House of Ideas in Sofia. And so it was very artsy, and we had glue everywhere. And, you know, the little child inside of me smiled all of a sudden because I had to play with glitter and with glue. So it was fun. And Svetla was there. She was sitting right next to me, teaching me how to make stars and glue it on my little jar. We were making lanterns. I'm still not sure if I produced something that is called a Christmas lantern, but I produced something. So haven't done arts and crafts for a very long time, but it was fun. Wasn't it, Svetla? It was really fun.
Yes. So, it was fun, definitely. It was my first experience joining this group, but I will definitely move on and join all the rest, for sure.
Wonderful. Tonight, this webinar, which is in English, is on a topic that is part of the Practitioner Coach Diploma. For those of you who are for the first time with us, the Practitioner Coach Diploma, which is the flagship course of the company, Noble Manhattan Coaching, has 12 modules that comprise reading, writing, listening, watching, practicing and mentoring, a live experiential training, and some of you also have master classes in your program. So all of that training is part of the diploma. And so goal setting is module 9. You know, we start with conversation, listening skills, questioning skills, values, beliefs, rapport. So we come to the goal setting. And it's not just about setting goals, but it's also about goal achievement. It's not enough to just set goals. It's one of those futile activities, if you ask me. Sometimes goal setting meetings tend to be also frustrating, not always nice, unless the whole goal setting experience is connected to goal achievement. It is a waste of time. So we as coaches don't want to waste time of our clients. So, which is why we train you how to help clients to actually set goals that they will achieve and help them achieve them. Normally on the 4th Saturday of every month, we hold the experiential coaching masterclass program. So one reason we even slow down with these webinars is because the majority of our students, coaches, choose to join the advanced coaching diploma, and they have automatically in their package the coaching masterclasses. So after you spend a whole day, not just 1 hour masterclass, not 2 hours, it's a whole day of training. So once you go through a whole day of experiential coach training, there's very few questions left to answer in a webinar format. And Gergana Nikolova has agreed to be our speaker. She's one of our long-term coaches and partners and trainers. I have had the fun of working with her since 2017, was it? It's a long time. She's not only one of our best coaches, actually everybody is a magnificent coach. I don't always get the opportunity to work with everybody, but I am happy for the people that I do end up working with, and Geri is one of them. And she has also helped us on a number of occasions run both the online masterclasses as well as the physical ones that we used to run in Macedonia, in Skopje. Before we move on, because I mentioned Macedonia, I'd like to introduce a few people that are online right now. These people are our partners in the Balkan region. I'm very happy to introduce to you Boštjan Trilar, who is our partner in Slovenia.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Anybody
And
from
then,
Slovenia here?
and then we have lovely Radojka Nikodinovic from Serbia, our partner
Hello,
in
hi
Serbia.
everyone. Nice to
Hi.
meet
Hi.
you.
Too. And then we have Tony Kostov, our wonderful partner in North Macedonia.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Tony. And then we have lovely Petra Pulic, who's
Hi.
behind the
Hi,
camera,
happy to be here.
partner in Croatia. So feel free to contact them on LinkedIn and reconnect with Team Balkans. We're a lot of fun. Everywhere you look around, you'll find one of us. So back to Gary. Tonight, one topic on goal setting. And we thought also that it's a really good time of year it's the end of the year, the beginning of the next one. People think and reminisce and evaluate what has happened and what are the new visions and goals for the future. Some of you I know are either just now starting your coaching journey, some of you are planning to start it. For all of that, that's why we chose this particular topic out of the 12 of the Practitioner Coach Diploma. So, Kiri, take it away.
Hi, everyone. So happy to be here. So happy to see you all. Thank you all who decide to turn your cameras on and smile at me. And the rest of you who decided not to smile at me, I hope you're smiling, but I'm just not seeing you. It's also okay. And also thank you for deciding to come on the topic of goal setting, because that shows one very important thing for me, and it is that you have a type of a growth mindset. Because what a fixed mindset would say might be, goal setting, I can lead a webinar on goal setting, right? Why should I attend one of those? But the fact that you're here means that your mind is eager to learn and see different perspectives. And by the way, I'm going to be quoting some books today, but I wanted to start with one, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma. I don't know if you're aware. Okay, the book is okay. Like, I'm not recommending the book per se, but I want to quote something that I really liked from this book. And if I can paraphrase it a little bit, it would sound like that. It's not important what you are going to get out of the webinar. It is important what the webinar is going to get out of you. Because you hear same things over and over every day, every week. And then one day, someone in a room tells you the same thing again, and you go, yes, that's it. Why I haven't done that yet? Or, oh yeah, it makes perfect sense. So that's a prerogative of the growth mindset, to allow yourself to listen about things that you already know quite a lot, because you never know where the rabbit is going to jump out. So let's give it a go. It's a pretty short presentation. I hope we're going to have a discussion. So don't be shy. Use the chat. Mute your mics if you want to share something, if you want to ask a question. And because we are discussing goal setting in the context of change management, Zoom is something very weird to me. So let's see how I'm going to manage this change in the platform that I normally use. So I think you should be seeing my screen now. Yep. Okay. Okay, just give me a sec. I have to make that a little bit bigger. Okay. Here we go.
Looks good.
Okay, so do you see my notes section?
No.
Not that I need them, but I actually never tend to repeat myself. So even if I take some notes, I never follow them. But that's probably the way I handle change. We'll see about that. Okay, so that's the topic, goal setting and time management, favorite topics of me. I think I'm, maybe an adequate person to talk on both of them, because I firmly believe that the only certain thing in life is change. Maybe if someone here believes that nothing changes and we shouldn't be talking about that, maybe we can discuss that in the beginning. But I believe that if you think about your life, your work, like every day, things are constantly changing. By the way, when you set a goal and you achieve that goal, you're also changing your reality. That's one of the most important things about goals. They need to change your reality. If you set a goal that's not going to change anything in your life, then what kind of a goal is that? It should be challenging, provocative a little bit, but also bringing pleasure and happiness. And you set the reality in a different way. So I promised you some books that I'm going to quote, and I'm going to start with The Noticer by Andy Andrews. Have you read this one? The Noticer. Maybe I can also say the name in Bulgarian because it's different. It's Pronicatelet. That's how it's called in Bulgarian. That one I can recommend. I absolutely love it. And precisely, one of the things that the main character says a lot throughout the book. And it is this quote: sometimes all a person needs is a little perspective. So this is what we will do now. We're going to put a little perspective, or a little slightly different perspective, to goal setting and change management. I think I'm going to surprise you with this slide. And I know you're thinking that, if you turn the thing on and then smart comes from there. If you open Google, it's all about SMART goals. But one of my colleagues used to say, you never say enough about SMART goals. Like, there's always something that you can set about SMART goals. You can set a SMART goal in 5 sentences. You can set it in 5 pages. It can take you 15 minutes. It can take you few days to do it properly. So you can go very, very deep inside of the goal and see all the aspects of that. But I'm not going to be teaching you here, what is S and A and all of that. I just want to ask you about one particular word, one particular letter. I'm sorry. This one. Can you guys remind me what does R stands for in SMART?
Realistic?
Relevant?
Relevant. Yes, exactly. Thank you. And I reacted like this on realistic because I hear people asking this quite a lot. Is this goal realistic? First of all, that's a close question. How is this goal realistic? Doesn't really sound good to me. And furthermore, a goal is being realistic or not. It's not part of the 5 letters. It is how the different components of SMART correspond with each other. Let me give you that example. I want to lose 15 kilograms in a healthy way in 2 days. Is that a realistic goal? Healthy
No.
way. No. So my measurable piece fights against my time frame. So I either have to decrease the measurable piece, or I have to increase the time frame so the goal becomes realistic, right? Both components are in there, but the goal per se is not realistic. And a realistic goal is when, by the way, you see if the goal is realistic when you set it, and then you take a look at it. This is at least how I like to do it. I set a goal, and then I just leave it somewhere aside. And then I'm going to take a look at that after a few hours or the next day. And with my fresh eyes, I'm going to see, I forgot this, or maybe I can add this as well, or that doesn't make sense in here. And that's what's going to make the goal realistic to me. But I want to talk about relevant here, because I believe that this is honestly the most important thing in the SMART goal. Even though it sounds somehow counterintuitive to say that there is something that's more or less important in a SMART goal, it seems like everything is important. But what I have found out in my experience working with SMART goals, with my personal and other people, is that if you know how the goal is relevant, you achieve the goal. If you don't know how the goal is relevant, you don't achieve the goal. That's it. You can set a time frame. You can make it realistic. You can figure out, perfect action steps. You can do it beautifully. And then if you don't know how the goal is realistic, you'll never do it. If we need to attach a small question, like I need the question word here, which would be the question that corresponds to the letter R, to relevant. To which question this answers? Or just the question word? Yeah, but I could go ahead.
Why is it important for me?
Why? Exactly. That's the answer to the question why. And you probably know that this is one of the most powerful questions because it leads directly to our motivation. Why tells us what's our motivation. By the way, are there here people who are people leaders? Like you're a team leader, manager, you work with team of people? Yeah, I see some heads nodding. So correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the biggest aspirations and desires of every team leader is to keep their team motivated. Yeah? Okay, so I'm right here. Well, that's how. If I can say a very short magic formula, how to keep other people motivated when you set goals together with them, it's to discover very, very well the relevant part of the goal. Exactly this question, why is this important to you? How is that important to you? But never stay with just general question. Like there are quite a lot of supporting questions you can keep asking and keep digging so you can understand how a person feel about their goal. For example, what are the positive benefits that are going to come for you when you achieve that goal? And how your life is going to change in a positive way, how your performance is going to change in a positive way. So a lot of question might stand behind this general question, why is this important to you? By the way, I have a friend and she hates the word goals. She's a psychotherapist, by the way. And sometimes when we talk about stuff and when I ask her and if I start talking about goals, and she's like immediately becoming very resistant. And she says, well, for me, setting goals is something like very automatic, like you follow a structure or a guideline or a blueprint, and then it's very automatic. And it's like this human aspect is missing. Like you don't know why you're doing this. And that's exactly what makes the goal human. That what makes the goal true, real, tangible, to know why do you want to achieve that. And by the way, here, when we talk about goals, I would like you to split your thinking in two directions. Think about your goals and think about the goals of people that you're working with. That might be your colleagues, your team. That might be your clients if you're already performing and conducting coaching sessions. So think in both directions, because even though a good coach should never advise or provide their personal opinion during a coaching session, you can never be able to help someone set a proper goal if you cannot do it for yourself, if you haven't lived that. By the way, speaking about my friend, which is who is a therapist, we also discussed that very recently. Of course, the theory is important and to know how things are happening. But if you don't have the eyes and ears to hear that, to recognize it, like a pattern, for example, in the other person's way of thinking, way of talking, that's going to stop you from being effective in what you're doing. So if you want to be really, really good at helping others set their goals, you need to be really, really good at setting your own goals. And as Katrina also mentioned previously, achieving your goals, which is also lead me to tell you that also it's very important to know why you're not achieving your goals. Not achieving a goal, it's not a failure. It is a moment for self-awareness and to ask yourself some questions and to understand, okay, why that happened, why I didn't achieve my goal. And I have some questions that I'm going to show you a little later. But so far, that's what I wanted to mention about the relevant. The sad thing when I see how because this is a part of my job, I sometimes attend meetings on which a team leader or a manager would work with their team member, and they're going to help them set the smart goal. That's a part that people always forget, because the others are much more tangible. This one here takes some time, takes some more questions to be asked and be answered honestly. And probably people just don't want to deal with that, so they skip it. Not everywhere, of course, but I just wanted to stress as much as I can of the importance of the relevant. All right. And life happens. So this is, I was thinking about some examples because we are discussing goal setting in in the context of change management and change happening. So I was thinking of some examples, and then I'm going to ask you to help me out and build the list even more. So you just got in the volleyball team and you break your leg. And if you think that that's a great irony, that happens to my daughter. She had to go through that. As a part of your Get Fit goal, you start visiting the near gym 3 times a week. 2 months after, the gym closes. Or they move to the other side of the city, for example, and you cannot reach in there for 2 minutes. You have just saved enough money for your vacation in Italy and your laptop gets broken, or some other expenses you need to take care of. You've just quit your job and started working on developing your business. Homeschooling is announced out of a sudden, and your kid needs to use your laptop every day until, let's say, 4 o'clock. Another personal story that happened to me this time.
And just about to ask.
Yeah,
That's something that happened.
the above mentioned girl with the broken leg was the one that has to use my laptop. And we had one laptop, and that was the situation. Like, it was not in my plans to buy a second laptop. The homeschool, if you remember back then, it was like they said it today that it's going to happen tomorrow. So also not enough time for reaction. So now, guys, I want you to think about your lives, maybe something that you're going on right now, maybe something that happened to you. Maybe something that you managed to overcome, or you didn't manage to overcome. Yeah, Emma, go ahead.
Thank you, Gary. Sorry for having my camera off. I look like shit because I'm getting sick. So, and it's the situation I'm in at the moment. So you plan a great trip for the weekend and suddenly you get sick because the kids brought the most awful virus, which doesn't put them down. They still don't get them in the kindergarten because they have some boogers and coughing, but they have their full energy, and your energy is at level 0, even -10, I would say. So yeah, you put your goal. It's a achievable, it's smart goal to go on a vacation. You planned it, and then life happens.
That's a great example. I also have lived it several times. All right, that's
well. This is how.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So this is how we actually turned our master classes from face-to-face to online. It was in March 2020. I was actually out with the daughter of a friend. We went girl shopping, and Brian calls me on the phone, and that was a Friday when the lockdown happened, but we didn't know. So on Saturday, we had our monthly coaching masterclass planned for in Sofia, the ones that you came to, Gary. It was Ganka's daughter. Actually, we went out. And Brian calls me and is like, oh, they announced they're closing all the meeting venues. And I'm like, they can't be doing this. We have like 20 people coming tomorrow and I can send them home. So I called a few halls because I thought, oh, maybe one of them maybe they will break the rules and let us have a meeting. But no, I called all the halls that I had connections with, and everybody said, no, we're closing. And within a matter of like hours, I had to go home and figure out what to do because the masterclass happens at 9 o'clock in the morning. And so basically we called everybody. We're still going to do the masterclass. Just here's a link. Let's get online. We'll figure it out. And so ever since then, it became the new way of doing masterclasses in Noble Manhattan. So now we're doing it all over the world like that. But it happened like because life just happened, not just for us, it happened to the entire world. But yeah.
Yeah, it happened to the entire world, but not the entire world managed to handle it in a nice way. You know, I know two type of people. Half of them are very, very happy of what are the opportunities that the pandemic gave us, and the other half are feeling very miserable because, you know, something has broken in their life, and they couldn't manage to handle it in a way. You know, I find myself in both. But so far we have two great stories here, examples of how life happens. Anyone else wants to share how life happened to them? If you don't want, I mean, it's not a mandatory thing. I know I'm asking you about personal stuff, so no pressure here, no pushing to share, but just to know that the mic is open in here. But at least what I want to do is have this story in your mind, because that's going to help you make it more vivid to you. So what I want to ask you here is, no matter what is the situation of life happens, what are the things that you take under consideration when you have to deal with this? Yeah, Rebecca, go ahead.
So I will share the personal story. So in 2020, I was supposed to move to New Zealand, and then I got the job to move to New Zealand with my partner, and then Corona happened. But I cannot explain to you how we went through hell to get that job and to find a way and everything. So when that happened, I was so disappointed because I left my own country in 2011, and then I was traveling around the world for nine years, and then I had to come back to Serbia because Corona happened. I couldn't go to New Zealand, and it was really devastating because after nine years, around the Western countries, you just cannot go back to that mentality and people, and it was really really challenging. But what helped me, I also found a way, like I did Mind Valley a lot. I don't know if you heard Mind Valley. So I did a lot of courses starting from hypnotherapy and everything, and I said, okay, maybe this is the reason, I have to learn some lessons, and this is how I found it internally, to do something else. But then I started teaching English, which is something I used to do, but as a hobby. And this was a full time. And then via one student, I got connected to a person in Canada, attorney, and we started a business where we were sending people to Canada. So it was totally my life shifted in another direction. And I think it's because I was open-minded, I wasn't like set in stone. So I think when you say change, you need to be flexible, and sometimes it's even better than you're actually hoping for. So this job showed as a great thing. I started my own business. I learned a lot about myself and running the team and everything.
Mm-hmm. Another great story. I mean, probably you wouldn't define it as great by the time it happened.
Oh, God forbid. No, I was so depressed.
For the sake of our, job here and the topic we have, that was a great story because it again explains one more time how we make some plans and then life happens, and then what do we do? And we handle those in different ways. But just wanted to give you, my perception of what is that gets on the surface when we're living through such major changes. So that's going to be the values. The coaching students here would know that that's a so huge and important topic. The values lie beneath everything. This is the foundation of us as people, and they determine pretty much everything in our life. The decisions that we make, the connections that we build with other people, the arguments that we have with people, agreements, disagreements, everything, the way we behave. Also, they affect our beliefs. So they're extremely important. So in situations like that, tapping into your values and being aware of, by the way, Radoika, you said something that I really liked. You said, I learned a lot about myself. Well, yes, in those moments, we learn a lot about ourselves. Or we can lean on the knowledge that we already have on ourselves and see what is important to us or what is the desire. The desire is a topic that I always like to talk about. Even, let's say, you might find it very not connected to anything, but desire is what keeps us alive. On this topic here, I'm going to recommend another book, but probably you already at least heard it. This is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Just to mention that it's considered to be the first book written on the topic of personal development. So everything that comes after that steps on the shoulders of Napoleon Hill. So written many, many years ago, but it's so adequate. And in this book, there is a great explanation of desire and the importance to follow our desire and the things that are important for us in our life. So when change happens, it's a good moment to see what you truly want. Where is your desire going after? Also, the priority. What's more important? Like, is it more important to stay home and get better, or just to go on this vacation that I planned, like for the weekend? Or is it more important for me to, I don't know, just try to change the things and see how I can make the environment different, or it's important for me to keep my reason and my mind calm and relax and don't burn out or don't get depressed. You know, different things would be important and priority for different people. And the last word that's not very pleasant, but unfortunately we are all being driven by are the fears. So many fears. It's also a nice opportunity to tap into our fears and see what are we actually afraid of, and based on what we are making our decisions. Because every time when you make a decision, you're going in a direction but running away from something else. So normally we're trying to run away from the fears, but do we actually all the time manage to do it? That's not very clear. You gave quite a lot of examples with, and I myself as well, with what happened after the pandemic. But I want to show you something else here. Anyone have any idea what is this about? Why the hell elephants versus frogs?
Possibly the point of view.
That's nice thinking. Definitely the point of view would be different. I'm referring to two very common expressions. One of them is actually a psychological syndrome. The elephant is something very favorite of mine, and this is the greatest affirmation I have ever managed to create for myself. And I learned this in Noble Manhattan during the master classes and everything that we did in here, is that you need to eat the elephant. How? How do we eat the elephant? With a fork?
Piece by piece, or?
Piece by piece, exactly.
Step by step, yes.
Step by
Mhm.
step.
Bite at a time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, just to be clear, I'm not advising you to eat any elephant, right? So that's
Neither frogs.
yeah, or frogs, of course. But it's great to do if it's a change. In the big corporations, they use this matrix that it's called impact effort matrix. So you have some areas of improvement, goals, problems, whatever, and then you put them in this matrix, and then you see where you start from. It's a tool for prioritizing the different areas of improvement. And the top corners are quick wins and major projects. So when there is a change, you should go with quick wins. A quick win happens when you eat the elephant in small bites, because you can never eat the entire elephant and wait until it's over so you can say, job well done. You have to take it bit by bit. So sometimes there is this rush when things are changing for us to dive inside of that, do our best, exhaust ourselves, put all of our energy and power into handling this change. We cannot cope with that for too long, and eventually we burn out or something else negative happened to us. So being reasonable during the times of change and just take one step at a time. Of course, that doesn't prevent you from having plans for the future, but taking one small step, one small bite at a time, it's the best way to handle change. Because during the moments of change, there is when the change is negative, there is this desperation that happens in people, and you fight this desperation when you see small wins. And I did that, and that's okay, also done, and this is done, and this is done, and this is done. And then you start believing more and more in yourself, and you become more and more confident, and that helps you handle the change in a better way. Okay, so that's the elephant point of view. The frog point of view is this syndrome that I was referring to. The psychotherapist called it the syndrome of the boiled frog. Have you heard of that? Yeah. All of you, is there someone that has never heard about it? So I don't need to explain it then. Don't be shy if you haven't heard about it. Okay, just a few words just to make sure if someone is shy and don't want to say. So if you have a pan with hot water, I'm sorry, and you put the frog inside of it, frog feels the water, jumps out, escapes, save its life. If you have a pan with cold water and you put the frog inside of it and you very slowly start heating up the temperature, what happens is that the frog keeps adapting and keeps adapting, keeps adapting, keeps adapting until the water is so hot that the frog starts boiling, but it exhausted all of its energy into the adaptation process, and the body processes are stopped, they're frozen. So the frog is just incapable physically to jump out and escape, so eventually it boils. Here the dilemma is, what exactly kills the frog? The hot water or the ability to adapt too much or very well? So we will never know. Don't do that experiment. Again, I'm not advising to boil any frogs, but what I mean here is that that happens to all of us. And we will be lying if we say that we have never been boiling as a frog. And pandemic happened as a strike. Like, it happens all at once. And if we are different people and we're doing things in different way, we know what's the reason. It was a pandemic. But very often things are changing just very slowly. Just very slowly, bit by bit, day by day. And what we do is we don't pay attention and we just keep adapting and we keep adapting and we keep adapting until one day we just wake up in our beds and we say, F word. I mean, what happened to my life? Damn, how did I got here? And sometimes it's inevitable. Sometimes it's non-reversible. Like, there's nothing you can do. If you manage to catch yourself on time, then you can actually go and fight that. So being adaptable is okay. Being too adaptive, though, it's not good, because it might silence your self-awareness. And self-awareness is exactly that, to pay attention of what's going on with you, what's going on around you. What is the change? Is it changing? Are you provoking the change? Is someone else provoking the change? Do you enjoy the change? You know, all these questions for you to be able to answer. All right. So remember your life situation that I asked you to think about, this change that you have gone through or you're going through. So a little time for honesty here, because those are some questions that I like to ask myself. I like to ask other people, my clients, my colleagues, like everywhere. My husband thinks that when I'm asking people questions, I annoy them, but that's his opinion. He's not a coach. Anyways. Okay, so change is happening and it sends your plans in the sink. And you can ask yourself, am I giving up on this? Because that's a possibility. You might decide to leave that goal and to don't go after that. So I believe that's the first step in here, to know whether are you going to keep fighting for that or you're going to give up. There is no right or wrong. It's all about self-awareness. Another very important question I believe here is, am I giving up only on this or on all of my goals? Because we talk about goal setting as we have just one goal at a time. No, we have many goals. We have many different aspects of our life and we have a lot of goals. Something is very important to us. Life happens and it breaks it. And then we get depressed and we say, okay, I've had it. I'm not going to do anything here. Right? I just give up on everything, not just on this goal, but on everything else, even though there is no reason for that. Yeah, Emma, shoot.
I wasn't talking on mute, sorry. Just an example here. For example, when we had the pandemic happening and a lot of people were saying that they gave up gym because the gyms were shut. And the result was that even when the gyms were open afterwards, nobody came back. So I would say that's an example of how we are giving up not only on the goal to go to the gym tomorrow, but to go after 6 months, for example.
Yeah, great example. You are actually right. A lot of people did that. Yeah, just find an excuse. So that's the honest answer that you have to ask yourself. The question that you need to ask yourself: am I looking for excuses in here? Am I giving up on anything, or I'm just going to put a pause here because now pause is needed. Even if I keep fighting, I'm not going to do anything.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes when we're in situations like this, isn't it a matter of basically asking ourselves, am I looking for an excuse or am I looking for a solution?
Mhm.
I guess that takes us to a whole different topic. Maybe we should do sometimes about self-sabotage and how we hinder ourselves and what makes us choose I guess the path of least resistance is to find an excuse. Oh, we don't have electricity. Like we didn't have electricity like 2 weeks ago, and I had a meeting with these partners that I just listed in the beginning of our conversation, and we had no electricity. Also with Svetla, I had a meeting with her. I had to exchange information and stuff. And it's like, what do you do? It's always like that. It's like, are you gonna look for an excuse or are you gonna look for a way to solve it? I mean, thankfully, in that time that I'm talking about this electricity problem we had when the snow fell a few weeks ago. Yes, I had to do these things, and I could have said, oh, well, there's no electricity. Svetla will just have to deal with the situation later when I call her, and I'll explain to her. And actually, when you give an excuse, most people will politely nod their heads and say, of course, I understand. Because it's just, that's what we do. We just give ourselves excuses sometimes. But what we did with Brian is actually we got in the car, we drove to another town where we found a coffee place. I turned on my phone, I logged in through my Wi-Fi of the phone. I got online. I asked the coffee place owner to give me a table with a plug. So I plugged my computer and I did my work. And I connected with Svetla. I told my team I can't meet them for a long time because my phone only had a very small battery, but it was enough for us to connect. So there is a way and there is a way, So anyway.
And I'm thinking while you talk, Katrine, that you did all of this not because you know what is your S or A or M or T in SMART, but you know what your R. You knew why you're doing this. You had the answer to this question, and you knew your motivation.
And I think it connects also to values, like you said, and we major very strongly on the role of values when we work with clients and when we train as coaches to understand what triggers somebody to do something. Why would Brian drive 2 hours to another town to make a phone call? Or why would somebody with a runny nose say no to a job interview, which is on Zoom, which happened actually. We were recruiting for, and then people are, oh, we need jobs and da, 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 da. And it's like, what happened? Where are you? Oh, sorry. 3 hours later. Oh, sorry, I didn't show up. My nose is running. I couldn't come to my job interview. Could we reschedule? Guess what I said? There's no rescheduling. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, yeah, values, motivation, and like what you said, relevance, the R.
You said all of this to R because we talk about goals and SMART goals, and those things are so important, and they make SMART exactly living and true and really something that you would do. It's not just a blank document with some blank places and you just fill the information and you fill the gaps and you say, there you go, that's my SMART goal. Well, you can do it in this way, but it takes so much more to that. The next question here that you have to, not have to, of course, but you could answer honestly is, which are the fears I'm driven by? And I use the word driven for a reason, because normally we connect fears with, fears would be something that would stop us. Like if I'm afraid of bears, I'm not going to go in the woods, how we say here in Bulgaria. Or if I'm afraid of the dark, I'm always going to keep the light on. But also fears might be a powerful drivers to just do the wrong stuff, just go in the wrong direction. Let's say I'm afraid of, actually, Katrina, if I can use your example on a very subconscious level, I might be afraid that you're actually going to hire me and you're going to give me some tasks and I actually don't want to do them. So that drives me just to go and talk with a friend while I'm supposed to have an interview with you, for example. You know, it drives me, it makes me do something, but it doesn't make me do the thing that I'm afraid of. But this is sometimes very, very subconscious. And when, you know, when you say to people, they would normally say, oh, no, 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 no. How come I'm afraid of finding a job? I mean, I'm looking for a job. Well, this is also something that is covered by R. Like, because we talk about, and there is a question here, this one actually, the next one, what do I want now? That's extremely important. And that's one of the reasons why people don't achieve the goals. We said that it's not just setting the goals, it's not just achieving the goals, but understanding why we don't achieve goals. For me, and my personal observation is that we don't achieve goals which are not ours.
Mhm.
And sometimes we don't understand that this is not our goal. Because, see, guys, this is very sad. We tend to play the role of the victim like our entire life. And that starts from our childhood. Because when we are kids, we tend to fulfill our parents' wishes for us. How we should be dressing, what school we should be going to, how we should be behaving because we are a good boy or a good girl, and so on and so forth. So we don't want that. We want to play the PlayStation or something else. But no, we have parents and they tell us to do stuff. When we grow up, then we start we start looking for a job and we start working, let's say, in a big international corporation. And then there are targets and KPIs and, you know, someone else's goals, which is absolutely normal, by the way. If a company needs to be successful, it needs to have goals and KPIs and targets. But people tend to say, oh, I'm just poor me. I'm looking here just to make someone else rich. And, you know, I'm spending my life doing something that I don't want. You know, poor me, I'm the victim of this life. And again, feeling like we don't feel our dreams, but we fulfill someone else's wishes. If it's not this, then the society hits us. Like what kind of a car I should be driving, what kind of an apartment I should be living in, you know, what should be my job title so I can call myself successful, or how much money I should be earning. Well, maybe I don't want to live in the big city in working in a big corporation. Maybe I want to live in a village and grow tomatoes and cucumbers in my backyard. And that would make me successful, right? But because it's nice to have, because it's everywhere on Facebook, on Instagram, you turn on your TV and then you have success and all this status that people talk about, and it feels nice. Like it's when you see the models on the catwalk and you say, oh, those girls look amazing. I wish I would look like that. Well, that's nice to have. If you're just staring at it outside of a window and you say, that looks good, it's nice to have, you know, it would be nice if I have it, it's not your goal. It's not your dream. Our dreams, we can feel those. They lit us on fire. They burn us. They make us run. They make us do stuff which we thought that we would never be able to do before. And this is how you make a distinguish between your goal and someone else's goal, because you go after your goals. And when there's someone else wishing something for you, then you postpone, you find excuses. Who knows, Katrine, this person, maybe his mom told him, hey, you know, put yourselves together, you need to find a job. So he started applying for some positions. No, I'm just guessing here, but normally when people don't do stuff, when you guys, okay, let's not talk about people, let's talk about you. When you don't do stuff, ask yourself, are you going after your dream, your desire, or someone else? And the next question here is, who else wants this for me? And I mean it in this negative way. Like, it's not like who else, I'm gonna make happy or something like that, but who exactly you're trying to please instead of yourself. There is a old saying that goes like that: well-fed ego never bites its owner. We are ego people. We have this. Yeah, Katrin?
There's a hand up, Raika.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't
no
know.
worries. So I didn't want to interrupt. So I totally agree with what you were saying, that I mean, of course, what you like to do and what you actually want to do from yourself will give you more energy, and also, or it will give you the energy to do it. I just think, I don't know, I just feel like you hear this all the time, right? Like, find what you love and what you love the most. I mean, there will always be stuff you won't like. And I feel like there's nowadays like a lot of pressure of like finding this one thing that is for you. So I'm kind of like recently struggling with like all of this, oh, find this one thing that you love the most, because it puts so much pressure on finding it and not being happy in the situation, or maybe finding aspect of what's good about your situation. So I feel like one example is, for me, I mean, I'm not at all fulfilled with my job, and I'm trying to find something what fits me better. But I also don't, I want to kind of not always be on the run, because I feel like that's stressing me out way more. So yeah, I'm kind of struggling with it recently, actually. So.
What you just said is actually great. You said, I feel that there is this pressure and I'm struggling with that. Well, that might open the questions, and you ask yourself those questions like, who gives you that pressure? Like, you want to find, and you feel like you're pressured to find that one thing that's like your thing. By whom? Because that's the real question here. You wouldn't be pressuring yourself. Trust me. We have the self-defense mechanism. We are, by our nature, by our biology, we're not built so we can self-destroy. So we are actually pretty gentle to ourselves. And when there is this push, even when there is a negative talk inside our heads, that's someone else's words for us and perception. Let me not go into mommy daddy issues, but exactly mommy daddy issues are placed in here. But yeah, when you feel that you're pressured,
No, I mean, like, technically stuff like this, when you say, okay, like, is it relatable what you want, or anything like stuff like that? I mean, I feel like these are the things that you hear a lot nowadays, and I feel like it's kind of, yeah, this is giving a pressure of like people
to do what you want to do. That's what it's giving you pressure.
Maybe that is one thing. I'm just trying, I don't know, I find it a bit, I just find it just difficult to, I don't know, yeah, maybe sometimes you don't know what you actually want and what you actually want to do. So yeah, maybe. And then the question puts a lot of pressure of like, oh, you have to find it now, kind of, maybe that, yeah.
Yes. Well, sometimes you want to do nothing, and that's okay. And you say that I don't want to do anything, or I'm not in the quest to search my vocation. I'm just here and now, and it's okay for me. But again, if there is this pressure, just think about where, and that's something that you need to, sit alone with yourself and have the self-talk. Where is that might be coming from? Because you feel it for a reason. Like, let's say I don't feel it, someone else won't feel it, or someone else also would feel it the same way, but it's coming from somewhere, and it's a part of your personal work that you do with yourself too. Okay. By the way, did you say that you're one of the students in Noble Manhattan, or?
Yeah, I am. I just started recently, so.
Okay, well, that might be something that your client will tell you. They can say, well, you're asking me now as my coach, what is my goal? And I don't have a real goal, and you give me pressure, like you're pressuring me now, and I don't want you to do that with me. Well,
no, I didn't want to, so I didn't want to say like this is pressuring me now in general, like, or that you're the presentation. I'm like more saying like, I feel like this is currently in the world, the love.
Yeah.
And also on
I
social
totally-
media, you know, you see this like, oh yeah, do what you love.
I totally get that. And my point is that someone else, like your client, might feel the same way you're feeling right now, and they might tell you the same things that you're saying here, sharing here.
Mhm.
And because you have gone through this process and you know yourself, you will have the eyes and ears to catch that in your client's behavior and help them with quality questions for them to see where is this pressure coming from, how they feel the pressure, where they feel the pressure, and those things like that. I know that you weren't talking about the presentation and the things I'm saying here.
Okay.
Okay, thank
May I
you
add something?
very much. Yeah, Katrin, go ahead.
Well, I'm going to pick on the fact that you're actually studying on the coaching course with Noah Manhattan. So there is that module 5, which is values. So when you get there, I don't know if you're
No,
just
I
starting,
haven't.
so okay, it'll take a little bit of time, but since this is already I usually recommend that you study what interests you, even if you have to study the modules in a different order, because learning follows interest best. So if this is an issue, maybe you should start with that module and read it. But in that module, you will learn about values, and then you will learn also about an exercise we do, which is called discovering your core values. Very often when people experience this sense of dissatisfaction or stress, like you put it, because of different messages that we receive either from social media, the world around us, relatives, the workplace, even upbringing or culture or corporate environment, whatever it may be, sometimes the cause for that is because values that govern other institutions or groups are clashing with values that we hold as individuals and people. But when we are not aware of these values, then we don't know how to deal with the clash, but when you understand your own values that make you who you are, then it's much easier to navigate, and it's much easier to distinguish, oh, this is for me, this is not for me, oh yes, this path is my path, and no, this path is not my path, because the values play the role of that inner guiding navigational system, and it helps you. So when you read it, keep that in mind, and maybe ask one of the students here on the call. I mean, I see a few faces, like I'm sure they would love to have a coaching session with each other, like either Petya or maybe even Radoika or let's see who else will volunteer. But if you want to actually get together and do the exercise, do the values elicitation, it's called, I mean, it's a very fancy word, just discovering your values exercise, and see what happens. When I do this exercise with clients, it usually brings people to tears. Not because it's so tragic and dramatic, that's not at all, but it's because sometimes for the first time, these people actually understand, oh my God, this is actually important for me, and I've never understood this before, that kind of a feeling. And so read the text, listen to the webinars, and find somebody to practice with. Even Catherine, Switzerland, probably you're in touch with her, no? With Catherine, maybe? She's also, never mind. So just any of the students to do a practice, it'll be great for you.
That sounds good.
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, well, thank you for that, because indeed you see how many times the word value pop in this webinar. So yeah, probably it's important to know them, not just that, to live them. Knowing your values is just half of the way, but living the values is the most important part. Okay, let's go over some more questions. Katrin, maybe you, in the meantime, you can help me out with the time, because I really lost it.
Well, it's been now, we can go maybe 10 more minutes and we can finish.
All right. Well, just to show you some more questions here, what is the best case scenario for me now? Obviously, the best case scenario, it's not available. So what would be the next best thing? What is the most important for me in this situation? That's exactly question on the values, right? Because this is the question that we ask over and over in this exercise that Katrin just explained. Okay, why am I clicking? It's not working. Okay, how is this change positive for me? Change is positive, even if it seems very, very negative in the moment it happens. So it's good to give its, to see the positive impact of this change, because it is. It sometimes might take some more time to see it, but there is a positive thing. And the last thing here is, where is my control? Situations of change normally leave us outside of our control area. And I'm going to give you my perspective here. I promise that we're going to put a little perspective on the things. And my perspective here is that we are always in control, no matter what. And in every situation that happens in our life, we have one of three options. Not more, not less, three. We can accept, we can change, or we can leave. And there is no right or wrong. No, I lied. There is a fourth option, whine about it and do nothing, but it's already too crowded in there, so not my advice. Our control is determined by the reactions and the decisions that we make. And I say that there is no right or wrong because, let's say, what does it mean to accept? Just to, okay, when I talk about that, the first thing that pops up in my mind is exactly, again, the pandemic. You have to keep distance, you have to sanitize, you have to stay home, you have to do this and that and that. Can you change that? Can you change the pandemic? No, you can't. Can you leave to a place when there is no pandemic? Or the planet Earth? I mean, I don't know. No, or you don't want. So the only reasonable option here might be to accept it as it is and just feel comfortable in the uncomfortable. Yeah, to feel comfortable in the uncomfortable. This is what expands our comfort zone. So start growing, so you feel more and more comfortable in more and more different situations. So in another situation, accepting things as they are might not be the best solution, because let's say that hurts your values. Let's say you work with someone, you have a colleague or a friend, I don't know, and those guys are constantly taking advantage of you. They're stealing up your time, your energy. They ask you constantly to do them favors just so they can take the credit after that. You know that you can't accept that because it's against your values. You know that you cannot change this person. Actually, I'm giving an example on the leave situation. So your decision might be just to leave this person, just to say, I'm no longer in that relationship, and you don't maintain that relationship. This is what I mean when I say leave. Changing would be, yeah, exactly, to fight for the change. I have webinars live, pandemic happens. Well, let's see now what I can change. Can I go online? How can I promote myself? How can I market myself? How can I invite people? How can I make it very interactive for people? And you're fighting for this change. Sometimes bumping your head into the wall, it's not going to bring you any happiness. So it's common sense, and also, again, knowing your values and what's important to you, to know how you want to react in those different situations. Do you want to change, leave, or accept it as it is? And just for the final touch for today, who mentioned Mind Valley? Was it Rodolfo? You did it, yeah. So this one here is from Vishen Lakiani. You know that he's the founder of Mind Valley. His book, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind. I recommend that book. And I like how he describes the 4 states. And I believe that's relevant to goal setting and change, because it has 2 scales, so 2 axes. The vertical one is happiness in the now, and horizontal is the vision for future, or our ability to set goals and achieve that vision. So if there is a very small amount of happiness in the present moment, combined with no vision for the future, that's going to put us in the negative spiral. So everything's dark, everything's not okay, complaining, everyone else is to blame. We have all been there. Like, it's not a good place to be, but we have all been there. So what we can do here, or of course, if we feel happy in the present moment, and that's going to happen because we know our values, we take care of our ego, because I told you, everyone has an ego. It's not a bad thing. I'm a mother of two, and I'm egoistic person. Like, I want to feel good because I know that if I feel good, my kids are going to feel good. Remember this example with the oxygen mask in the airplane. You put the mask first on you and then on your kids, even though the kids are the most precious thing for you in your life or someone else. If you don't take care of yourself, you cannot take care of someone else. So when you do all those things, let's assume that we're going to have much more happiness in our life. But again, not having a clear vision for the future, or not really willing to, set some goals, that's gonna bring us into the current reality trap. Maybe trap is too strong word for me here. Being here and now and be happy with the things that you have, it's not a bad thing. Not bad thing at all. Sometimes go through, I'm sorry?
It's actually wisdom.
Yeah, it's actually wisdom, because we talk about goal setting, but indeed it brings that feeling that we always have to rush. We always have to compete with people who have achieved more goals. No, nothing like that. The point here is to achieve the goals that you set. You might set 3 or 2, but just do them in the right way, coming from your desire, not from someone else's desire, and make them happen. I'm not saying that every day you need to set another goal and you need to have like gazillion goals for the entire year. No, just to do them in the right way. Work smart, not hard. So set goals smart, not hard. But if we're aiming for that, what Vishen Lakhiani calls bending the reality, we need to increase and have much more vision and build more vision for the future. If that's combined with not enough happiness, it's going to bring us stress and anxiety. So I have a lot of plans, this rushing, but I'm doing it because I think that when I accomplish my goals, I'm going to be happy. The truth is that you need to be happy so you can achieve your goals. And then, of course, when we combine those two together, happy now and have a clear vision, that's going to bend the reality. That's going to bring this change that it's positive and something that we have provoked, not something that someone else bring upon us. So kindly asking you to share one word on this one, and that's going to be the end of what I have to say. I wanted to say for today. I hope you managed to take something with you. Even one thing would be a win. So what I'm taking away with me is, you go. Oh, please, guys, tell me that that's not 1 hour. Yeah, Sarah, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm taking away with me that it was very wise what you've said, and that you're right that unless you're happy, you can't really achieve those goals that you set yourself. To be happy first, even if it's just a mild happiness, your happiness will grow and grow when those goals are achieved. Does that sound right? Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. Yeah. And by the way, I love your accent. I should have given you the word much more. Great.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you very much for a lovely talk. I did get here. I've just been listening to you, that's all.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay. Right. Someone else wants to share one thing you're taking with you.
Okay, Gary, for me, it was with the big goals, don't rush, take one step at a time. That was
Nice.
kind of reminder rabbit jumping out of the bush, because this is typically what I'm doing wrong. So thanks for the reminder. And I really like your presentation. You have a beautiful voice. It was very interactive, and I learned a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much for saying that. Okay.
Hi, Gary. Thank you for the beautiful lecture. we had. For me, one of the most important things that I should remember here was that find out that we have three options, realizing that we have the situation in control.
I love that as well. At least it feels good to me to know it this way, that you, by the way, again, for the people who are coaches or trained to be coaches and you're going to be working with clients, that's going to happen very often. I've seen this many times. People like to complain and go outside of their area of control. So every now and then, you have to have the ear to hear that and pull them back in their area of control. It might be that big. It might be 5%. But you need to focus on those 5% because complaining about the rest 95% is pure waste of time. We cannot do anything about it, then why the hell are we talking about it? So always remind your clients. And by the way, that's a question that I ask almost on every single coaching session. Where is your control in that situation? Because people complain. And this is what's going to really put them on the right spot instead of just turning the session into one constant whining.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I don't think we have time to hear from all of you, but I really hope that you're taking something with you. And it was, you know, when you close your laptops now and you can say, huh, that was 1 hour well spent. Really hope it was the case. It was, as always, a huge pleasure to talk to such an intelligent and aware audience, to work together with Katrine and Brian. I love you guys so much. And I think I'm going to manage to stop sharing my screen. Let's see.
Well, Gary, thank you so much. I really look forward to another webinar after New Year's with you, maybe. But because we're just to wrap the topic on goals and goal setting and goal achieving, we oftentimes during our trainings we talk about the connection between goals, values, and beliefs as being the golden magical formula for goal achievement. So tonight we only focused on goals, but we will be doing more webinars after New Year's that will cover also the element of beliefs and element of values. So that when you work with clients or when you work with your own goals, you can actually be aware. Because, okay, there is a way to find what is the right path, actually. I mean, yes, there is no right and wrong way because like I can tell you what's right for you, okay? So I cannot judge you for whatever choices you make, but you can know what is the right way for you, whether to give up a goal or not. And the way you know that is by aligning these three things of your goals, your values, and your beliefs.